Welcome to I Heart Geek. And welcome to another episode of I Heart Geek. Oh my gosh, I'm already having fun before the show even begins. I'm Dub. I'm here with Courtney. And Courtney, would you like to introduce our new special little friend?
I would love to. Hey, listeners, we got the guest all the way from one of the actual islands to join us here on the ninth island. We have Chris Caravalho.
Yes,
and
what's
Chris
up?
is here.
The ninth
Chris is
island warriors.
the ninth
right there.
island.
Okay, got it.
We're in the ninth island, baby. Chris, we're so happy to have you here. And Chris,
thank you so much for having me.
Chris is a indie comics artist who has created an amazing set of Polynesian and Hawaiian superheroes. And we're here to talk about that.
And I got to say this before we start. I am not a big fan of a lot of the Hawaiian stuff. I mean, I have my Hawaiian shirt and all that, but I am. I'm a white boy. I don't, but I read. Courtney had me read the first two issues of your series, Sister Shark.
Yes.
I am in love.
Yes.
This is incredible. Now, before we begin, so kind of tell us your experience as an indie comic artist. Tell me about this one before we talk about anything else, because I love this comic. Tell us about Sister Shark.
Sister Shark, there's a really untapped resource we have, I believe, in the islands, and it's been kind of neglected. But more recently, there's been little people that have been picking up on it. But we have such a rich culture, and we have such rich history. We've got such a rich mythology all right here. And it's not just Hawaiian. There's just so much other cultures that came here. Sister Shark in particular represents the Hawaiian culture, that deeper culture where there's, we believe in beings such as shark deities, we believe, pig gods and that type of thing. So it's within that realm of Hawaiian type, backstory legend kind of thing. That's where kind of like Sister Shark came to me as far as I wanted to touch upon that side of it. Her being a character, with mythology, I have other characters within my universe, but I really enjoyed writing her in particular because also I think other people caught on to it. That she's just number one, it's kind of like the introduction of her. She's trying to struggle with what she's dealing with personally, and everything and the kitchen sink gets thrown at her. She's sort of in the mix of everything at this point, but it's definitely a nod to our mythology and legends that we have on the island. That's what Sister Shark to me is about. Which
I do want a huge compliment, because I read it and I instantly understood the mythology. It wasn't, I don't feel like it was dumbed down at all, but it definitely was accessible.
Yes.
I don't know any of the backstory, but what you did there, I'm pretty sure that's a conscious choice how you did that, or it seemed like.
Yeah, it is. Because it's, for me, I understood the fact that the audience, it is important to have that authentic feel. Rather, you're never gonna get anything but with my comics, you're just going to get, if you live here, I'll totally get it. But I also want to include a broader audience to say hey, they can understand it too, because I want to share that culture. I want to share what life is here on the islands, and doing it through these characters. It's a really good way to do that, to connect to other people, because it's such a great thing that we have going on the islands. And like I said, it's rich in everything. And I just want to share it with the world, not just locally with over here. So there's, and that reflects into a lot of my comics. If you go through it, we have slangs here, and we have things called pidgin, how we talk. You see, I'm going total Caucasian right here, how I'm speaking. I can switch gears.
Appreciate that.
I can switch gears.
When I gave him the books to read, I said, okay, there's a glossary in the back. You're going to be fine.
See, I made that conscious decision to include that because I didn't want anyone to feel out of the circle. So you're learning at the same time too. So it's good. You're learning Pidgin, which actually has been classified as a language now. So you're incorporating that. You're learning about just how we, interact with each other. And that also in my actual title comic that first came out is called Omaku, which includes all the different characters. And like I said, Mana Comics is all about including just what you see, all the many faces and races that we have on the island. So Sister Shark is just definitely a nice part of that, a nice addition to what we have.
Yeah, and I feel like, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of gushing right now. I feel like you've done such a great job of having a feminine voice in there with still accessible to male, and that's, I know, for male
as
writers to be tough.
As the female in the room,
yeah,
I can say it's actually true. And that's one of the things that drew me to the comic when I saw it at first. Is like,
I thought
this
it's a
is
female
rad.
Artist.
Right.
This is rad. I'm like, because I like the female superheroes because I am a female superhero myself, and so
I'm sorry.
Don't tell everybody.
That is probably one of the most greatest challenges as a creator is to find a voice for your character, and it's recently with my title book called Omaku, I've been writing in a 16-year-old Korean girl's voice. Now, I don't know how they really particularly sound unless I went to a high school, sat down in a cafeteria, which is not going to happen without getting arrested. So I have to try to...
You watch a lot of anime, Hey.
Yeah, right. I have to visualize what, to me, that would sound like. So those are the challenges as a writer and creator. But I thank you for your kind words. I've got the opposite reaction, too. But we're not, I'm going to keep it positive. But it's been... Since I started this whole thing back in 2014, it's just been nothing but a lot of good things happening. So I appreciate you guys for your interest, definitely into this.
So let me hit this. Let's see. There's two different ways I want to go on this. I'm trying to decide which way I want to go on it. Let me ask you this first, actually. Let me hear about your journey into indie comics in general. Now, I'm a huge indie comics fan because I think that the big guys suck anymore. Yeah. I stopped buying comics about 2 years ago on a serious basis, and I'm only buying the indie stuff because these are the only time I'm getting good stories and not having like Superman. But let's change him. I'm like, no, if I'm gonna have Superman, I want Superman. If I'm gonna have an indie comic, I can have whatever the artist wants to give me without it feeling like it's shoved down my throat. Yeah. Indie comics, I think they are the future. So, now walking back a little bit, tell me how you kind of got into the whole indie and where do you stand on the whole indie is taking over the world?
When growing up, I'm sure like many of you right there, it was Saturday morning cartoons, and it was spin racks at 7-Eleven and trying to get that change from the couch, trying to get to that 7-Eleven to get those issues. And that was, to me, that was my my happy place. All that part, and it just was something that I just really connected with, and it, I just held on to it. I think, like you're right, it's definitely, the industry has definitely transformed into, including all these other topics that may not be, we don't want to hear. We want to have something that we can escape into without, like you said, getting shoved things on the throat. I do touch upon certain things that happened probably in the, in the past in my other comics, and I think it's important, but I'll do it in such a way, present it in a small dose where here's a taste of what occurred back then. However, if you're interested in it, go look. You can see, what's it about, without having to get totally bombarded.
The smart way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just say, hey, go look on your own and discover on your own. That's my one of my greatest goals as a creator is, number one, to get people excited about reading, to especially when it comes to your history and our culture here. I want people to learn about that. Those are, and I always say this at night. I always say, can you please just, I ask God, I say, can you please, sorry, no, it's religion, but just bring joy to the people who read it. That's my goals right there. And
that's
if
awesome.
I can accomplish that, I don't worry about tons of cash being dumped on me, and I don't care about that. What I care is just bringing joy and entertainment. That's the end goal.
Very good.
Yeah. Okay. What I really enjoyed, because I finished issue 3 of Sister Shark this morning.
Yes.
And like, it's this great, superhero origin training, blah blah blah. Lioness fish, Kumu Noho is probably my favorite. But
I love how you go Hawaiian when there's another Hawaiian.
I kind of love her, but it's okay.
She's got attitude. Yes,
but I also like how there's those little things that kind of for howlies and people who are not kanakamole, you're giving them this, okay, well, this is the kind of stuff that happens that you should watch out for. So I mean, I don't want to spoil it for everybody who's going to read it, because you go read it. But yeah, the part where Honu kind of set some things right. Yeah. And I was like, I dig this. I really do. So when you think about it, that's what I like.
Well, visitors of any state who come in, even if I go to the mainland, there are places, the locals know you don't mess with. I mean, that's not your area. You shouldn't be. I mean, so it's kind of like that over here. We do have spots. It's like, you may look at it like like an inanimate object, a tree, a rock, whatever, but something happened there. And to me, it's left something kind of energy. And then this goes back to, if you believe in those kind of things, that you shouldn't mess with that stuff. So, and it's just basically about respect. When you go into somebody else's house, don't start messing with things you don't understand. Yeah. So I do try to put that in there. I mean, not so much, like I said, I try not to bombard, but just enough for you to know kind of what the message is.
Yeah, they kind of slip in, and I really kind of dig that.
It's a slip in, and just to let you know, it's like, hey, just respect. That's all a lot of people want, I guess, local people, wherever you go, just respect where, the area. So yeah, that is also, I'm glad you picked up on that. I was wondering if anyone did. It's nice to talk about the book, actually, because I don't really get the reactions so much. Sometimes people will send me a letter, and it's great to hear, but actually converse about it, it's definitely different. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you because I know that you asked before we started recording, Chris asked how I had found his books. Yeah. I was actually visiting my family who live in Keohu on the Big Island. They just one of the little burbs of Kona, for those who don't know. Kona, and my mom and I were out grocery shopping, and I had stopped in the local bookstore that's in the shopping center, and they had the first two of Sister Shark, and they also had I don't remember how many, but they also had the Aomakua books as well. Yeah. And so I grabbed, because my very first novel that I ever wrote actually had a shark Aomakua in it. Yeah. So I have a connection to Mano, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to read this. It's a chick. She's a shark. I'm sold. Let me have it. So I bought the two, and I read them that night. Yes. And I was like, I need more. I need more. And I immediately texted him, and I'm like, you got to read these books when I get home.
Yes.
Because they're amazing.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Like, well, actually, the Sister Shark initially, I had the idea of it was going to be like a brother shark. And then I was like, no, I think it's better for her to be a strong female character. I want her to represent the monocomics like a Wonder Woman would DC. I want her to be strong. Yeah. But, some people have commented that the characters comes across weak, but on our journey to become better, we all are kind of like make mistakes. We're unsure. That's where the character is now. As like in the book of Omaku itself, which takes place 2 to 3 years later, she's definitely a more feels comfortable in her skin, stronger and capable. Yeah. So it's her journey right now to become that hero, to become someone who is going to show that there's going to be growth, and somebody that is definitely respectable out there. But I also mentioned like how DC and Marvel haven't really, it's kind of been overlooked, Hawaii stuff. But I read King Shark in DC. It was so weird because the word Amakua appeared in the book. I think it was Waller or something that. Waller,
the Suicide Squad. Yeah.
Yes, she was hanging out with. Was it Bison, Black Bison, or something? And he was
one of the guys that dies. Yeah.
Yes. he was doing some drums, and this huge shark came out of the water, and then the mention of Amakua. See, and that's what I mean by like, I think it's finally to the point where they're kind of noticing. I don't know if it's, to me.
I think they actually, in the new Suicide Squad movie, I think they call him Nanaue.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're really starting to explore King Shark as what he should be.
Well, I mean, to me, why not? Why not find these, these characters like that? For me, like Super Friends, my characters were like Apache Chief and Samurai, and the Black Vulcan. I like that because it was kind of neat. You get to see different nationalities in the mix, and I feel like I said, Hawaii is just a lot of untapped. We don't just have like Hawaiian. We have Chinese, Portuguese, Puerto Rican, Korean, Samoan, and I try to include that all in
Sounds like Las Vegas.
Yeah. And I know fun. in your Aomakua books, you have Portuguese man of war.
Yes.
What is it? So
I can show you that. Can I share
Soul Sun, I believe is her name. I can't remember. I looked up this funny, but yeah, you have your Aomakua are kind of across the board as well.
Yeah, so the whole team of Omakua, which is my first book that I did in 2014, it does, like I said, it is definitely that melting pot group that comes together. And in the lead, like a lot of times in Western culture, like older adults may kind of like lose that respect, but in Hawaiian culture, they still have that sort of reverence to what the kapuna, the older peoples, or the kumus, the teachers, have to say. It's still relevant. So now you got someone like my main characters. I call them a Royal Hawaiian Guard, but you try to match up to who they would represent in like the DC or Marvel universe. So Royal Hawaiian Guard would probably be the Captain America / Wolverine guy, been around for a very long time, and he's always kind of like been the center of the team of Omakua. Sister Shark, Super Size Sole, as my Samoan guy, Phantom Surfer, Gecko Man. I got Mighty Moke, Portuguese Man of War, and the one you were trying to mention is Soul Hot. So with that group of characters, he's kind of like that leader that kind of like, they're all young, and he's trying to teach them to be not only heroes but good people. I guess he wants to push out into the world. Yeah,
that's awesome. I can't wait to read this. Actually, I need to ask this one for as far as distribution goes. Are you in digital at all? And B, I'd like to hit on the difference between distribution in Hawaii versus the mainland.
Ooh, yeah, this
that was a loaded question. I know.
Yeah, it's actually I don't have like any like huge distribution kind of a thing. I just have a website, and I have a local book company called Best Press. They kind of distribute to like it's funny because a lot of the education like schools and stuff, I think they're getting onto the fact, back in my day, it was like comics were kind of, I don't know, maybe
evil.
Yes. Yes. So like my parents, my stepmom and my dad, it was banned. It was like prison contraband. I had to sneak comics into the house and slip it under the mattress. And it was kind of like, I think I asked why does it have to be like that? And it was something like, Chris, that stuff is just going to corrupt you. And it's funny that I tried so hard to sneak it in so much times, and I guess because maybe it was the allure of it being bad that I just love this so much, and I kept going. Maybe the interest, that's why it remains to this day. But it's just funny how that's how they viewed it.
Yeah.
But to answer that question of this distribution and stuff, it's basically via my website. And it's word of mouth, coconut wireless, as they would call it. So it's just word of mouth, and it's proven good at some points too. Like every so often I'll get a buzz, and then people react to it. So it's fun, and I've got to actually share it with I don't know if you want to call them the elite, but you got like the Rock. Rock comes down here from time to time. Jason Momoa. They were doing a movie. What do you call it? What was it called? Jumanji.
Yeah.
And I was working that particular, I guess, event that they were having, and so I managed to get the comics into Roxanne, to Jack Black's hand. Jason
Jack
Momoa,
probably read it. I guarantee he did.
Most definitely.
See the reaction of what they thought of it. I already know because the way that they present themselves and the way that they love superheroes, I was like, I know this definitely hit home with them because they were raised here. So I'm sure they got a sense of that's a great thing. So I know for me, like having representation from the islands, having stories and characters, that's what I wanted as a kid. So being able to be in a position where I can actually give back that way, to give that next generation those to root for, is just the greatest pleasure that I could possibly have. And that's, I think, once you figure out like in your own life, you find that passion. And I can tell you guys are passionate of what you're doing right now. At work, for me at work, it's drone, it's creativity off, and you go into work and you do it. But when you get to immerse yourself into your passion again, your joy comes back, and those are only good things. And to share that joy, I think that's what people see it like. Oh, they see how excited I get about it, and they're getting invested into it. So it's just so fun to see little kids like reading the book, and they're just they're
and
dying.
you can feel that in the stories. You can feel that excitement.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what it is. And then like when I'm writing and then the stuff, and like I hit on certain emotions, and I notice like if I get chicken skin or something, I was like, I guarantee you someone's gonna feel that when I put that in there. So I
feel like I'm home. When I read it. And so like I read 1 and 2 when I was home visiting my parents, but today I read 3 when I was here at home in Las Vegas. But I'm, it's freezing cold. I got a steaming cup of coffee. I'm out on the patio. I felt like I was home.
That's it. And,
because there's the pigeon and there's so it felt like I was home.
Yes, you escape and get transported. And this is what I feel the comics does, because it's authentic. If you were to watch like Hawaii Five-0, Magnum, although I love the shows, I love the locality, it's pretty much cookie cutter.
That's
and
not
their version of Hawaii, but it's not. That you don't get a sense of that's home. The only
Y'all don't have Ferraris in there?
No.
My biggest complaint about those 2 shows, which I love too, and like NCS Hawaii, because I watch it because I want to pretend I'm home. But my biggest issue is that Hawaii is a diverse place.
Yes.
But that diversity is never really reflected in the casting of those. And I'm not impugning those actors. I like all of them. I think they're great. I mean, I was watching, I think it was NCIS Hawaii the other day, and I'm like, that's Moses Good.
Yes.
He's a local actor. He's brilliant.
He was the uncle or something. Was that?
I think he's like one of the guy's dads, which cracks me up because it's like they made him look like he was in his 60s, and I'm like, Moses is my age.
No, I know who you're talking about. He's a great actor too.
Yeah, he's a brilliant actor. But
they should have put him in the forefront, man.
Right, and I mean, and that's the thing is like when you walk down the street or you go to the market or you do that, you see everybody. All kinds of people, and you don't really see that reflected in the shows. But that's what's cool about your books, though. You can see the differences that are inherently there.
Exactly. What you're saying is it's total on point. I want it to be authentic as possible, and I want it to like how you said, when someone cracks it open someplace, in Nevada or Oregon or wherever in the States there be, and they miss Hawaii. Boom, I get to take you there just for that slim moment. You're there because you got, that familiar feeling of what's happening, what's being said. And that's the joy. And one day I'm going to come up there and hit all those spots. And, because I know there's a lot of festivals up there too that they do Hawaii type festivals. I'd love to go in.
Oh yeah, we have a bunch.
And share it, and I'm sure they would all get excited as well. But yeah, like I said, they're just maybe beginning to notice. You have your Moana, got all these shows and stuff. I think the closest show, honestly, recently that has kind of like did really, I felt really well with capturing the local flavor has been Netflix's Finding Ohana. When they're talking and stuff, of course they had to put subtitles, but hey, you're getting the authentic.
I agree. That feels like home.
You're like, okay, I can definitely. Yeah, the other ones that we were talking about, although I did have an appearance in the pilot of Hawaii Five-0, which is I had to because my uncle did it back in the day. I was like, I gotta try this.
Nice.
But you'll see. Nice. And I don't know the mark or anything, but I gotta do it. Anyways, but I want to. Every time I write, I'm conscious of that. I want to make sure that I touch about. I love banter. So like local people have good banter, and we, not everybody talks pidgin. There's other, there's people who are talking like how I'm talking. And so each character kind of reflects a different voice. and banter is it's just always been exciting to me. And having multiple characters, like, I grew up with Justice League, Avengers, Teen Titans. I've kind of loved that George Perez stuff with Marv Wolfman
Good
connection.
call. Yeah.
Man, that was just gold to me. And having characters interact like that just was always exciting to me. So Omaku's series is I think at 6 now, and I'm working on 7 in the background. Meanwhile, Keeping Sister Sharp just got released in number 3 that you had. And there's a few others, but I'm actually, I don't even remember sending that. So that's terrific. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, you mailed it to me.
there's what I'm trying to do actually now is to also be specific. This is the Hawaiian Islands. So now I'm trying to go after certain people that really made a difference in the Hawaiian Islands, which I call Mana Legends. Mana Legends, of course, I had to mention like Kamehameha, who's definitely the icon of representation.
I think I saw you had some panels. I don't know if it was on Twitter, if it was on Insta or whatever, but it was some panels of him in training, young Kamehameha in training.
Yes. So, and here's the thing. I'm part Hawaiian, but that's gonna not protect me against a lot of people who I think when you're talking about like certain parts of the culture or the history, they're gonna be extra. Not the word. I don't know how to say.
Protective.
Extra works.
Yeah, they just want to make sure that it's done right. and there's the ugly side to that where they're just they're not in the right spirit for that. Or there are others that are like, hey, if you're going to do it correctly. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's all about intention. If my intention is to like I said, how it always is to get, the keiki, the children to read, get excited about that and learn about something from the history. I've done my job. And it brings them excitement. It's like a gate. Comics has always been a gateway to me, like to get excited about reading. Mm-hmm. But I think it was lost back in the day where parents were like, worried about, oh my God, it's evil and all this kind of stuff. But they didn't realize how engaged kids can get when they're reading a comic book. And guess what? It may not be a textbook, but it's reading and you're learning, stories and you're learning patterns of how it's written and voices of characters and you're doing it. You don't realize that it's happening. So, and that's what I want my comics to be. And no matter what topic I am, I just want the kids or people to get excited about what they're reading. And then, like I said, to get them interested. And I will send them on the journey. Hey, maybe I didn't write it 100% accurate. This isn't a documentary. It's a comic.
It's a comic. Exactly.
If you want to explore further, by all means, go for it. It's on you now, So that's kind of like where I'm at, I guess, as a creator writer in my universe. It's just, that's my thought in that regard.
Well, something else that you really seem to do on the other side, Courtney said it feels like home, but to me, I don't feel like an intruder, if that makes sense. And I feel I'm comfortable and I'm happy. And I'm at OA or any place else that I love just because I love the area, love the land. It may not exist, but it does exist.
Yes.
And you definitely make it so accessible, and it's not like you're a Howley. No, you can't. I
don't think
you're not into this. I use my Hawaiian today. Yeah.
Yay, dumb.
There you go. I'm not into excluding or just bashing when I'm writing. I am conscious about how I present it. And like I said, I just want everybody to enjoy it or to at least understand it. So you're learning stuff, you're gaining knowledge. And to me, that's what about to understanding different cultures, right? And, fear and hate, that all kinds of, it develops because people are just like, I don't want to learn. I don't want to understand. But when you start breaking down walls by sharing, hey, this is what the culture is. It may be different from your culture, but hey, this is what they're how they're living. It's, maybe in this kind of a media or medium, look and accept it and understand it. Like, okay.
That goes back to what we were talking about when we started with, you just give people a little bit. You're not shoving down the throat. It's just enough. It's just enough. Like, this is the cool part.
Yes.
Oh, wow. I'm even if that's all somebody takes, that's the nugget that I get. And it sticks with you forever. And that is so
you don't
smart.
need it. I don't need to start a cult of just total indoctrinating somebody. I will give you that little small dose, plop it in there, and just enough to hit you like, wow, that's pretty cool. And then, like maybe I'll get excited about a certain thing or a certain moment in history or a certain character. What area are they talking about? Because I try to include areas that exist here in Hawaii. And like I said, there's a lot of special places that a lot of things happen. People don't even know. People are not even aware of like the cool things that are in Hawaii. In Waikiki, if you walk in Waikiki, there's like a police substation on the beach in Waikiki. Near it is like these set of stones. There was some kahunas that supercharged the stones. Like they're called wizard stones. And it was used to protect and to bring bounty of fish. And it's just right there. People walk by it every time. They don't read the little placard of what it represents. But isn't it the coolest things? Like it's like lost in time. But in my imagination, it's like this meant something one day. What did it mean? What
you guys are Irish? That's what it is.
Yeah. What could it be used? Right? What could be used? What could this be used now in the present? What would somebody use these rocks for? So my imagination goes off when I see just local spots and things that are happening out here. There's just so much lore over here, and not just rocks. There's like night marchers, and like I said, the Hawaiian gods.
Don't mess with night marchers.
Yes,
listeners, do not mess with night marchers.
Yeah.
When I was at home, my mom and I went on a haunted Kona tour. And the tour guide is like, okay, so we might end up seeing night marchers. I'm like, we do not mess with night marchers.
Thanks. No, pass.
Do not even.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I mean, the friendly version of night marches was on the Finding
Ohana. Yeah, but I was kind of yelling at the TV. I'm like, that's not how that works.
There's a little more. They're a little more threatening than walking around,
for our
like
listeners
me.
And for Doug, night marchers, and Chris, correct me if I screw up here, but night marchers are basically the spirits of ancient warriors who, if you hear the drumming, if you hear the conch, if you hear them coming, or you see the lights from their tiki torches coming down the mountain, you get down on your knees and you do not look at them. Because if you see a night marcher, you will die because they will force you to join their ranks. So you just don't do it. You don't do it.
So and those are kind of what I'm saying, like how people who don't really understand that's part of the culture. They seek it out because maybe they heard a little bit about it, but hey, there's, like I said, like anywhere you go in the world, there are places you just don't mess with, don't test it. I mean, but people curious by nature, they will, but that would probably be one of the warnings of what not to do.
Don't go hang out with night marchers.
Yeah, don't play in the blowhole at beach parties. You know what I'm saying? Just don't do that. You should know better, but people are just, I guess when the guards get down, when people come to Hawaii, they get all excited. They do
that here.
Yeah, you know what I mean, right? And then, granted, you guys don't know what I do professionally. I don't know, but people come and they drive to the lookouts. They leave their engine running with all their suitcases in. They're there taking pictures of, Rabbit Island or something, and then they turn around, their car's gone. And I'm like, what made you thought that leaving your car running with your keys inside?
Because it's Hawaii.
That it's gonna stay there. Yeah, because it's Hawaii, right? But
sort of like people don't think they're gonna get in trouble for anything in Vegas.
People,
you do.
What?
You do.
Yes, it happens. It happens.
What happens here does not stay here, folks.
yes, exactly.
It does go home with you. I'm sorry.
Right.
I couldn't help it.
Oh, you're gonna have to guitar yourself.
Yeah. So, there should be that measure of control wherever you go, and respect of places that the locals maybe say, hey, stay away from there. Whatever the case may be, but and Hawaii does have its share of that, most definitely. But exciting, like I said, it's exciting for me to share about all those things. Stan Lee wrote once, like he says, "Okay, I got a bunch of heroes. What am I going to do with them?" And then he said something like, "Oh, I'm from New York. I live there and stuff. Why don't I throw them there? And that's what I feel like about Hawaii. I was raised here. I know, the different peoples and the locations. I feel like, I have something to give by putting them in there, because I wouldn't be able to write about New York or, Nevada, Vegas. I don't know it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But because I have that advantage of, being here, I can walk to Iolani Palace and, learn a little bit or take some pictures for the actual comic book itself. So it's definitely, like I said, it's definitely a passion, and I'm excited to be, I don't know if you want to call it like that ambassador of Aloha, to share this, the island itself, with the world. Yeah. I'm grateful for that, definitely.
So I want to ask you two more questions, and if they're probably done, I say that we'll probably keep going. So I'm kind of curious on what the creator communities like in Hawaii, and if you're having any community on mainland as well, because I'm hoping you do, because I think that I see so much potential with your stuff, and
it's okay. To answer that question, there is actually where there's at least 20 people that do what I do. They have definitely different genres and passions for what they do. There are some that do local stuff like I do, maybe like a handful. There's others that do stick with like fantasy, horror, and another
manga. There's a lot of manga out there.
Yeah, so I've seen like Hawaiian horror in comics. But not just like Hawaiian, but that one I saw was like Filipino. So there is a large community of it, and it's just unfortunate because we were kind of like always going to the different conventions here, but because of all the different restrictions, it's kind of like we're kind of like all are on our own, just doing our own thing, right? Trying to exist. But I don't know how it is over there with you guys, but it kind of sucks.
Right? Oh, they all hate each other. Yeah.
He's not Lauren.
There's no love. There's no love anymore.
Well, I mean, honestly, that's what keeps DC and Marvel in business, is because we don't work together.
Yeah.
Stuff. I'm just saying. Yeah. Because it's all it takes is a little bit of give and take. And honestly, I mean, you guys could have, HC or whatever, you could have a huge market, because you guys are doing something different. That's what people are looking for. This Hawaiian stuff, you guys are doing something different. People get a hold of something different, they're happy.
Yeah.
So I wish you guys could. Yeah, and that's not just you guys. I'm talking creators in general.
Sure.
That's what drew me when I saw it in the bookstore. It was like, oh, this is some. First off, I could tell right away it was Hawaiian mythology, which I love so much. I'm a student of it as well, and I was like, okay, but this is something different. We don't have a superhero in the mainstream that is a shark shifter. And then when I cracked open the books, we had things like Honu, and there was Royal Hawaiian Guard and Lioness Fish and the octopus. I can't figure what her name is.
Taco Ninja.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we don't have. I mean, like we have Doc Ock and things like that, but I mean, like there weren't. That's what drew me, is because I'm a DC Marvel girl too, but it's like they have their set group of superheroes that we all love and adore,
of course.
Or they would have been around for 80 years that they have. But it was like, I was like, oh, this is something new and different. And that's why I gave it to Dub to read. I'm like, this is something new and different. We don't see this every day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so that's what draws people in, I think. And I think that's what Dub was saying.
That's exactly it. You don't have to just recycle costumes. You can actually create a whole new character based on whatever. You don't have to granted, I love the Falcon as, Captain America. I like switching in certain places, but you don't have to. I mean, you've got so much just untapped stuff. And that's, like I said, Hawaii got overlooked a lot of the time. Just only recently it started to pick up. But see, that's the best part of being that creator. I can actually, bring that local Hawaiian universe to the forefront and say, hey, look at all these different nationalities. Look at all these different. I mean, this is just island life. It's nothing like, we're not trying to push like an agenda of like, oh, I have to include everybody. It's just the way it is here. It's just everyone's together, and that's the product of probably plantation days too, where you just have all these different ethnicities just coming in, and from different areas, and now you're kind of like forced to kind of like work together. And it's funny. That kind of like how that was how Pigeon was started, with all these different races merging together, and they kind of formulated a language where they could all understand. And that's kind of like a
Spanglish here.
Thing. Yeah, that's kind of like a beautiful thing where you can do that. So me being able to share that, like I said, it's just exciting. It's having like a local team for me too. It's kind of like having like an NFL team or a basketball team. It's just cool with a team that's from Hawaii. I just like I said, I wanted it as a kid. So it's I can't explain how excited it is to actually be able to do it now.
I'm really hoping that some of the people that are listening to this is going to come check out your stuff. So very important. Let's throw out all your information on how do people find your stuff. And if you are a listener to iHeart Geek, at least check this out. I promise you, if you don't like it, I don't know. But
but I'll think of some
sort of punishment you can
heap on us.
Yes. But I want you as our listeners, and not because Chris is here, because this is really good. I want you to check this stuff out. So Chris, tell us where they can find your stuff.
Okay, so let me just say, if you can't make it to Hawaii, number one, then you
can't. Sorry, I'm not taking that flight.
If you can't make it, then just go to my website at monocomics.com, www.monocomics.com. Follow me along. Yes, follow along on my social media, and you'll see what's coming up next. Like I said, I just wrapped up Sister Shark 3. Moving on to Kamehameha, which is that's going to be just ultimately to me, that's going to be huge. It's just because I know it's going to be huge because the Hawaii people are passionate about that. So that's what's upcoming, and there's more stuff upcoming as well. So follow along social media, check out my website every so often, subscribe to the website, and you'll get the latest information on what's coming out. I'm not going to bother you, constantly. It's just when something exciting that's coming up, I'll let you know, definitely.
Outstanding. Wow.
Yes.
This was so much fun talking to you, Chris. I really appreciate it.
I think, you guys share that passion and love for comics like I do. So this is an easy talk. Normally, I'll say this. I was that shy kid in the back, sketching and drawing my classmates. I was, really shy. This has taken me to the front of the line, having to talk about, but it's easy because this is what I love. Yeah. If not, I wouldn't say anything. It'd be silent. It'd be silent. So for all those people who are, they're just kind of like quiet and withdrawn a little bit, I can relate to you. But when it's something exciting that you enjoy, you can see the passion just being pushed out.
I do have one more question before we go. I apologize. I wanted to ask this earlier. Do you draw everything yourself, and how involved are you in that process?
Okay. So all the characters I'm creating, I'm sketching, I'm doing it all. Issues 1 and 2 and 3 of Omakua, I was the co-artist for those books. And then once I realized you're going to do a comic like maybe 1 and 2 years, then I started branching out. I started grabbing some local artists, some other artists from, so I've definitely branched out. So now I'm like, I want to be like, to myself, I want to be like a Stan Lee, where you're creating the universes and you got a lot of the team to help you.
That's the energy you have, and I wanted to say that without saying it. But yeah,
I want to be that guy to be able to just say, okay, get this project going, and just just keep it all in that universe, keep the universe expanding, and I hope to do this for quite some time, and it always is helpful for when wonderful people like yourselves are willing to talk to me and spread the word. Coconut Wireless, like I said before. So spreading out and sharing what Hawaii's about, that's what Monocomics is. So thank you.
Outstanding. Thank you so much for joining us. And just one more prop out. Check out it. If you don't like these books for the story, at least check it out for the art. It's got that that late 90s, early 2000s image style that is my favorite comic style ever. I mean, next to Jay Lee, there's nothing better. So,
yes.
Okay. So, check out all our stuff. You all know where it is. I'm Dub. I'm here with Courtney, and I'm here with Chris. Say your last name again for me.
Caravalho.
I'm sorry.
Mahalo, Chris.
Mahalo. Keep on geeking on, guys.
You guys are awesome. Ninth Island. Take care.
You have been listening to the latest episode of the iHeart Geek Show. Make sure you visit our website at www.iheartgeekshow.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you check us out on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep on geeking on to all of you geek rock stars.